said I got to say something, baby, hand me the mic. I said I got to say something, better hand me the mic. Somebody hand me a mic, cause I got to say something, so just hand me a mic. When I need to say something, better hand me the mic. I said I got to say something, better hand me the mic.
Are we rolling, Southpaw?
We are rolling, sir.
We are rolling. So, what a treat. Today, we're joined by an holistic therapist. Is that right?
That's correct, yep.
And, hold on, Akashic practitioner?
Yeah.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, today, we are joined by Kerry Bavin. Am I saying that correctly, Kerry?
You are correct, yeah.
Thank you for talking to people like us. Have you done any podcasts before?
Nope.
Do you enjoy watching podcasts?
Yes.
Or listening?
Yes.
What's your favourite podcast?
Well, I've actually started watching yours just recently.
No way.
Yeah.
Just the best one then?
Yeah, it's really funny. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Very much in alignment with like the way I am, kind of thing, with what your discussions and things like that. Especially obviously you've had Maria on as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know, I say Marie, literally we had her on once, and obviously we're not a huge podcast.
Yeah.
We've only got like 300 or some followers, I think. Is that right, Southpaw?
Yeah, across YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, but at least half a dozen people messaged, like privately DM'd and said, like, you've got to get her back on.
Yeah.
And what a treat. Like, she was made, like, shout out Marie, she was made for podcasts. Wasn't
Definitely.
she, though?
Yeah,
Probably hasn't done her own, to be fair.
To be fair, yeah, she actually could.
Yeah.
So, as you can imagine, Southpaw and I don't know too much about Akashic records, and I know a thing or two about holistic therapists, I get it. Mm-hmm. So, I guess in your own words, Kerry, what is it that you do?
So obviously holistic therapies is basics like massage and reflexology, but I go on kind of deeper levels because obviously we are energy bodies and we are connected to all the chakras, and things get trapped within sort of our energy bodies as well as the chakras. And so when I do my work, I won't just go in there and get knots out your back. I will actually start to try and visualise and see if I can see anything that could be blocking you from other lifetimes, possibly experiences that you've been through. Sometimes I might get ages of things that have happened to people. And then from that, obviously, then I release it because of the Akashic training that I've had. It's not just obviously standard training. It took me 3 years, this training, and I release it using the tools and techniques from that. And then I also can, if the client's open to it, I will actually give them some tools to take away for themselves, so that then if they ever get in this situation again, they can actually help themselves. My ethos is basically, I want you to heal yourself because that's what we all can do. The only problem is it's our sort of human mind makes us think that we can't heal ourselves, but we can. The human body is intelligent enough to be able to do that.
Okay.
And that's what I try to encourage people to do.
Okay, interesting. So I assume, am I assuming correctly that this began, the Akashic stuff, how do I say it?
Well, a lot of people say it in different ways. Akashic, Akash. There's various different ways of saying it.
Like the number 8 and 8.
Yeah,
I
basically,
guess.
yeah.
I'm going to go with Akashic for
Yeah.
the rest of this. So am I correct in assuming that you first became like an holistic therapist first,
Yes.
and did this come after?
Yes, it
Is
did.
that right?
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. How did you get into it?
What, holistic therapies in general?
Generally, yeah. What's the in brief? What's the story? How did you get to where you are?
I can't remember exactly the time now, but we're going back about 12 years ago, I think. I basically became poorly. I was quite a fit and healthy person and everything else, and then I just started randomly getting all these pains in my body. I went on a certain medication, which then made me even worse. Then I had to have an operation. So I basically was told by my doctor that I was a chronic pain sufferer and to get over it. Yeah, that's basically what he said to me. That's it now. This is your life.
Yeah.
So I was like, me being me, I was like, nope, not going with this. So, I mean, the medication I was on I was on quite a lot of painkillers, and it just wasn't working for me. It was making me worse. It was affecting my mental health. Everything was just going downhill. So my job was actually coming to an end where I was working at the time, and I thought, right, my job's coming to an end, I'm going to retrain. So then I decided to retrain into massage therapies, which previously I did want to do. But again, obviously, when you're working, it's hard to leave a job to go into college, obviously, because you're not going to get paid or anything. So I thought, right, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Anyway, I went in to learn massage. I then went on to learn Reiki, which obviously is energy healing, like a Japanese modality. And then while I was in the college, something like basically said to me, you need to do this as a job. And I'm thinking, how on earth can I be a holistic therapist as a job, you know? Anyway, I thought, right, no, I'm going to do it. So I started on a very, very slow level. I would only do a couple of treatments a week. And then that built up, and now I can easily do between 6 and 8 a day. It's not, it's no problem to me at all. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and endometriosis. So fibromyalgia is like widespread pain, but it's a malfunction of the nervous system. So the pain that you're feeling is actually the nervous system that's struggling. So it's not your actual physical body in pain as if you had hurt yourself. It's actually the nervous system that's misfiring, basically. I was diagnosed with that, endometriosis, chronic fatigue, all them kind of things, and I have none of that now.
Was there any event that led to this, or did you just wake up one day with it?
I just woke up one day with it.
No way.
Obviously, like I said, I was on medication, which I do believe caused it, because I was fine. The fibro, when that came along, I actually had a panic attack in the doctor's surgery because they just basically told me, we've operated on you, we've done all this, we've done all that, there's nothing wrong with you, it's all in your head. So right there and then I had a panic attack, and I've never had one in my life, and it terrified me. And it was then I realised, no, this isn't right, I need to get out of this.
If you don't mind me asking, what medication were you on?
Gabapentin and tramadol, and I was popping them like Smarties.
Gabapentin and tramadol. So tramadol being a painkiller,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing a painkiller, by its nature, numbs your nerves.
Exactly.
So you don't feel the pain.
But I still did.
Right. So you were. So have I heard this timeline right? That when you were on the tramadol, you didn't have those conditions.
When I went on the tramadol, I was having, yes, I had the conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for is what. Again, I know I'm focusing on this too much. I'm just fascinated. How it's just unusual that you've just all of a sudden got this thing from nowhere.
The medication that I was put on was something called Zoladex, which was an injection that basically stops you producing hormones. So you're kind of going like a medical menopause is what it's called.
Okay.
Now, I assumed that this would stop all the pain. And it did for about 4 months because I was getting one particular pain. And it stopped for about 4 months. And then suddenly it came back and it was worse than ever. And that's when I got put on the other medication. Okay. I've since done the research on this medication, and it is actually a chemotherapy drug. It's for prostate cancer and breast cancer. So it stops the hormone estrogen. Right. And so to me, I believe that possibly my body had started to attack itself because I had healthy cells. I didn't have cancer. And I think my body had started to attack itself, and then that's where all the other pain came from. I mean, it was only 2 years ago that I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism.
I know what that is.
Well, I was diagnosed with that, and it was very, very bad at the time. So again, they wanted to put me on medication. But again, I didn't want to do that. So I actually went into the Akashic to find out why I had this problem. And I found out why, as well as other things that happened in this lifetime. But I've cleared that now. So basically, everything that I've had is all gone. No symptoms, nothing.
Oh, well done.
And I'm on not any medication.
It does. It's the catch-22 thing, isn't it? Like, I suppose we're all sort of stuck in that sort of like state of mind. Like, of course, you can't. Life happens, and we get ill, and we get conditions. It's just part of the journey that we're on. And you've got to take medication sometimes. I guess that's sort of the way it is. Unless you're one of those, you can totally heal yourself no matter what. But my opinion, for what it's worth, is there is a place in this world for medication, but we're definitely in a time where there's, I won't call it suspicion, but like you do wonder sometimes, don't you? Like, is taking this? Yeah, I might have this, so therefore I'm going to take this. Yeah. But what is that? What is this going to cause? There's a lot of that. Yeah. There's a lot of that. Concerning and worrying and.
Well, the medication that I was going to be put on, which is called levothyroxine, which is basically to help the thyroid, supposed to help the thyroid kickstart it, that actually affects your heart. So when I did the research on that, there's actually a lot of people that have ended up on beta blockers down the line. And when I actually went on my bioresonance machine, it showed that I had a lot of, basically a chronic problem, but with my whole cardiovascular system and especially my head, which would mean in the next 5 to 10 years' time, I was at risk of a stroke.
Wow. Wow, that's not good.
No.
You don't want a stroke.
Not at 43.
No, you don't want one of them.
No.
But where you are right now, as far as you know,
Yeah.
zero problems.
Zero problems. Well, I had the blood test done. They all came back normal.
Brilliant.
I was literally monitoring it because like you said, there is a place for medicine. I understand that for medication. I'm not silly. If I needed it, I would have took it. I even had this discussion with my husband, but I said I want to try things naturally first. I mean, I was even told that I wouldn't be able to because the levels were that high. But in the first month, I actually got it down from 49.79 to 4.2, and the range only goes up to 4.2.
Right.
And do you know what I did in a month?
What'd you do?
Drank celery juice.
No way.
Yeah.
So no medication,
No medication
anything.
at all, and that got it straight down.
Right.
So it was then after that, the doctor had said to me, right, well, we'll keep an eye on you, but we'll check you again, because I told him I was going to try and do it naturally. And they did my bloods again. Anyway, the bloods came back the second time, and they'd gone down again. But in that time, then I'd also been doing work in the Akashic.
Right.
Because anything that's happened to us, not only in this lifetime, but other lifetimes, does have an impact on us. I mean, energy doesn't die, does it? It just transforms.
Stop. Hold up. Before we carry on, just a quick word from our sponsor. Do you have a business? Thinking about starting one? Dash, the bespoke web design and branding experts. When you have a business that needs a professional online presence, when your current website is starting to look a little outdated and tired, when you have an idea and want to see it brought to life online, that's where Dash can help. Dash create bespoke websites built around your business and its requirements, from exceptional e-commerce stores to sell your products online, to beautiful brochures showcasing who you are and what you do. The team at Dash will become an extension of your business. You'll be assigned a dedicated team who will help guide and advise from the initial design brief all the way to the website launch. Not only that, Dash provide full aftercare to carry out any changes, alterations or updates quickly and efficiently. It's like having your very own personal web development team 365 days a year. Dash understands that in today's world, the right online image, exposure and representation is the key to success. Book in a free, no obligation consultation with one of their experts today to see how Dash can make your online vision an online reality. Just visit www.dashmedia.co.uk or search Dash Media on Google to find out more. Dash, the bespoke website and branding experts.
Okay. So we're gonna dig into all this because this is new to me. So this timeline, great. Okay, you had these not too cool problems. Okay, timeline comes. You became a holistic therapist. You were doing stuff, and I guess you sort of is the self-healing bit. Is that like after you've started the Akashic stuff?
Sort of, it's been a journey, really.
Right.
In a few years. I mean, the thyroid condition obviously was just recently, and that was when the Akashic came in, but I've been doing that for like 3 years.
Okay.
I've just qualified sort of this weekend in the final part of it.
Congratulations.
It's a very in-depth work, and you've got to be open to it. A lot of
Right.
people are not open to it, and to be honest, I was quite surprised I could do it.
How would you I assume there's courses and stuff for this.
Yes.
Where would one go on a course like this?
Well, this lady that I've done it with, she's actually from the UK originally, but she lives in Thailand now, so it's all done online.
Right.
So it's all on, on Zoom.
What's the accreditations? Is the accreditation?
She's obviously, I can't remember the name of the company now that she's accredited with. It's a very well known one, and I can't think of it now. But yeah, she's done her own manuals and everything else,
Right.
and it is a proper accreditation.
So she approves it and basically
Yeah.
says,
But-
yes, you're qualified in
Yes,
this now.
yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah.
And this lady,
Yes,
this
yeah,
lady,
yeah.
she's tried and tested, got the receipts.
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So in steps, holistic therapy, in steps, being an Akashic practitioner, right? We might be repeating this, but just because I'm a bit thick, what exactly is in monkey terms for me?
Okay.
What's an Akashic practitioner?
So basically, it's somebody you're going to come to somebody that you've tried everything you possibly can, any type of healing, and you've got nowhere. Reiki will cover you for a little bit, but then you've got to come back. With the Akashic, you actually can go deeper in to find out the root cause of problems. And a lot of the time, the lifetimes are not from now, okay? So you could say be repeating the same problem. You could be meeting the same man all the time, and people get into this sort of rut of keep going back to the same person. They're not clearing anything. So then by going into the Akashic, you can find out if that person has actually been with you in another lifetime, because past lives, like everyone that's around you now in this lifetime will have been with you in other lifetimes, and it could have been you'd have been the complete opposite. You could have been the father and have a daughter, and the other way around. So basically, we're trying to find where it all started, where the problem is. And so when we do find the root cause of it, the attachment mechanism, we release it using a combination of decrees, affirmations, meditations, that kind of thing. Okay. And then what that does is it integrates into your energy field. So eventually it will manifest into the physical body from that lifetime.
Okay, so if I want to use the word conditions, what conditions, say, would I have to come to you for your service?
So it could be that your business isn't moving forward. It could, say, for example, if you were healed.
I thought at first these were people, again, like yourself, coming with chronic pain or what seems like a medical condition that the standard way is the the tablets, if you like, they're not getting any luck from. Does that count as for what you do? But it can also be some emotional thing too. It can
be absolutely emotional, mental, physical. It can be anything.
Okay.
I mean, the Akashic is very much wide. It's like widespread. You could have a problem within your energy field, but then if that's going out into your home, then that energy is then getting trapped into the walls of your home. So then anybody that's on a lower vibration like yourself, because of what you're holding on to, that energy will then attract onto that person. So then that person then carries on a cycle. Right. So I don't know if you've ever heard of some people, basically if somebody's died in a house and then somebody's died in the house, but then they'll start to get poorly, the other person in the house.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, and it's because they're picking up on, say, for example, the energy that person has that might have led to a cancer. And so we clear it on different levels.
Right. So just in that scenario, for example, so I'm understanding some of it. Okay. Number one, let's use your example. I've got chronic pain, right? The standard ways haven't worked. This Akashic practice could help. Yeah. Another thing, I am tormented by either something I know about or something I don't know about. I just feel it's just not right. Yeah. This can also help with that.
Yeah.
But on another thing, because the third one, this sounds more like a bit like a haunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
that's what I would call it. If there was a track record of a person getting a nasty disease in a house, and the next 2 or 3 people that lived in that house also seemed to get that disease, I would call that a haunting, is what I would call it.
Yeah, some people would, I suppose.
So how does it work?
What's within you will always be outside of you. So say, for example, you've got some sort of condition in you.
Right.
So obviously somebody's had that and then it's passed out into the house and then that energy comes into you, which will then manifest into you. A lot of people I do believe in hauntings because there are dark energies around and I totally understand that, but it's not on the scale as what we think. I mean, when you look into the energy fields, it's quite, there's a lot of it. Simple things like portals. Have you heard of portals before? Kind
of, but I guess probably not the same ones you mean.
So portals are anything that's got a mirror in it. So anything, a laptop,
watches.
The watches, yeah, but the ones where you count your steps and stuff like that. Because they've like a black mirror.
Right.
So they can become portals into your energy. Actual mirrors, windows, they're all portals, but then also mould, in the house. That's a living being. That's a portal, and anything can come out of that
A portal into what?
into another dimension. So,
Right.
say, for example, I can give you a perfect example anyway. Many years ago, my husband was treating our bathroom,
Okay.
and there was a little bit of mould around the light, and he was treating it. And as I was talking to him, and as he was treating it, I saw something fly past me, just like, best way to describe it, like a fog fly past me. And so I went into the room where I knew it had gone, and lo and behold, something had actually come out of this mould, right? Now, this is before I learned about it. So I did a bit of research into it, and one of the first things that came up was said that if anyone's got mould in the house, it can cause hallucinations. Now, I don't believe in hallucinations per se, because I do know that a lot of people see things that are what our mainstream would say you're hallucinating, it's all in your head, when in actual fact you're possibly just seeing into, well, behind the curtain, as I always say. So I did the research into it, and it causes hallucinations. But then when I looked into it in another way, it's basically because you've got portals, and there's spirit have come out of them portals. And then once they're in the house, obviously they're in your house until you get rid of them.
So mold. No, I know mold's bad for you. I've heard that before.
It's really bad. Yeah, it's bad for your health.
Yeah, I used to have a room. I used to live in a flat, and it was an old building, and I think it was the gutter outside.
Yeah.
So I was like at the top floor. So like I had the attic, I guess, flat, and the roof was sort of slanted. And yeah, I do remember in my bedroom there would be like black mold that would grow basically slowly.
Yeah.
And every year my dad would come round and just lick it with paint,
Yeah.
you know. And think, oh, it's gone now. But within a year it'd be back.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad used to always say, that's pretty bad, that, son. He used to say, you need to be, you shouldn't be sleeping in there,
Some
really.
people can end up in hospital. It could be that bad, you know.
Yeah, I survived, mind. Okay, but what we're saying is, or certainly your theory is that it isn't just bad for you.
No.
It's actually more than that.
There's a very fine line between spirituality and a lot of what we're told in the truth, if that makes sense. So, for example, I mean, I know this myself. I've had some very strange spiritual experiences, especially in lockdown. I think it's because I couldn't work.
Right.
But things like, I've heard of people saying, well, I've seen it myself, spiders hiding, going behind, your light switches. Spiders going behind the light switches. They're actually called astral spiders.
Not real spiders.
No. Oh, God, no.
Right.
But at the time you think they are, and then
Right.
you think, well, hang on, how can a spider disappear behind the light switch?
No way.
And I read about a story about a young girl who, she was diagnosed schizophrenic, and she used to draw spiders that she found were going under the skirting boards. And
She drew them?
She drew them, yeah. So that's what she was seeing, but she was diagnosed as schizophrenic. And it's like, again, what if they are seeing things? I mean, I've got clients that come to me that actually work in mental homes and things like that, and they come to me, have a clearing, because they know that they pick up on this energy of the other people in there.
Right.
So again, there's a very fine line.
Like I have an image so you go to people's houses to do this.
I do it remotely.
Remotely?
Yeah.
Because I'm picturing like an exorcism. Like
No.
you walking
Oh,
around
no,
with
we're definitely
sage and, you know.
I do that, but never an exorcism, no way.
No.
That is deep stuff, yeah. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mess with that side of things.
No.
It's
Okay.
real as well, so I know people who do it. No thanks.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
you don't play with that, do you?
Nope.
I've always said, like the old horror movie game, like, you watch scary movies, like,
Not anymore. I used to. Can't watch them anymore.
that's always the one, that sort of stuff that gets me. Like, you put a monster on the screen, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
buying it. You put, the horror movies where it's a man with a knife. Okay, still scary, but like,
Yeah.
that is a human being. But the ones that really mess me up are that sort of stuff. The
Yeah.
exorcism type stuff and the poltergeisty type stuff. Because
Yeah.
you just don't know, do you? Like, I mean, I'm 50-50.
Yeah.
I will hold my hands up. I ain't never seen anything yet, and I hope I don't. But yeah, if I couldn't confidently say now I don't believe in it. I'm hoping nothing happens.
I've
basically.
always believed, but I think as I got older, I started to see things more.
Right.
I mean, apparently I don't remember, but apparently when I was only little, I'd seen my granddad, and not long after he passed away, but I don't remember that. But I mean, in my practice, I've seen things and then my clients have felt them. So I'll give you an example. Just recently, I was doing a treatment on a client and we was just doing the emotion code, which is just a standard treatment, really. I don't go too much into depth. Anyway, and as I was sort of tuning in with the client, I saw something sort of wrapped around the leg and it wasn't very pleasant. And,
What did you see?
It was basically like some sort of snake, but it looked kind of demonic.
And you could see it?
Yeah, I could see it with because I shut my eyes. So I tune in by shutting my eyes and I could see it as clear as day around her leg. And I remember saying to her, like, have you got pain in your left leg right now? And she went, yes. And she went, it feels like something's trying to drag me off the bed.
Wow.
And so, again, we just cleared it instantly. And the thing is nothing can attach to your energy field. It's only you that allows it in. So a lot of children, if they're going through trauma, they kind of subconsciously call these energies in, thinking that they're protection. So they might go to bed and dream about a parent that's passed away, a grandparent that's passed away, and that darker energy is pretending to be that person. And once they've let them in, then they're actually in their energy field, and they'll stay there until a trauma when they're older, and then bam, it'll come out, and that's when they've got mental health problems or something.
So like letting them in.
Yeah.
You use that phrase. Is that what letting them in is sort of not admitting, but like, seeing them.
Yeah.
So what would the tactic be to like not allow yourself to see them? Just to nope.
So first of all, you've got to ask for 3 times if they are that person. 3 is the magic number. You've got to say, I had an example, my mother, she passed away and she was coming to me and I asked 3 times if it was her, and by the 3rd time she disappeared. It's the law of the universe. They are not allowed to lie to you on that side. So there's laws in the other realms as well as there is here.
Right. Yeah, like, I don't know if I've told you this, Southpaw, but like, in my house, right, you know I moved in this house last year? Mm-hmm. Right, so I don't know the top and bottom of the story, but I do know there was an elderly man lived there before me because the person next door told me. He was called Mr. Robertson. I forget his first name. And from the moment I went in that house, right, and I'm not really into it, but like I could like, I don't know, I sort of felt something, like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't scary, but also made me aware that there was something there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I was always like, because I've watched like the Paranormal Activities and stuff, and like it freaks me out. Like I'm terrified of that. And I was surprised that this feeling wasn't scaring me. It was like I was confused as to why I wasn't scared. Because then, you know, like you do, I live alone. So like over the days and the weeks and the months, I'd come to the conclusion that there's something here. And I actually started talking to it. Or him, I guess.
Yeah.
Not verbally, in my head.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Robertson's here, and I could feel something. Now, the something goes on every night, and it's only one place in my house. No matter where I am in this house, I just know there's something there. But from the very first night, I remember the first day I moved in, right? I didn't move in for about 6 months. It was getting decorated and stuff. The very first night I moved in, I went to bed, I turned the lights off. I sat on the edge of the bed, and I had a drink of water. And I was sat there in the dark, and I looked at the doorway. So, you know, like when it's dark, and you can't see clearly, but I could see the shape of things, right? Now, I admit, I looked, and I couldn't see anything. But I just got a feeling that there was someone stood in the doorway, right? But again, it didn't scare me. Like, not terrified. I was just like, So I lay in bed, and I shut my eyes, and I am convinced there's something there. And at this point, right, my heart rate goes up. So I'm a little bit scared. And I like go, just have a look. And I go, and I open my eyes and look, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Right? And lay back down, my heart's going boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, just shut up, man, calm down. Anyway, I drift off to sleep. That's the last of it. Every single night, ever since, something similar happens to that. Same time, same place. One time, just once, I felt that there was something stood next to me when I was in bed. And it makes you go cold. You know that feeling? You got like ice cold. And I'm touching myself, and it's not the breath thing and all that off the film. I just felt a bit of like a chill. Like, I think it's fear. It wasn't actually the temperature cold, it was a fear. But every time I open my eyes, there's nothing there, right? And like, I don't know where I'm going with this story, but you talked about your mum coming to me, so I'm talking about Mr. Robertson.
Yeah.
But I'm like convinced that there's somebody in this house, right? And like, he's not angry. What he is, I feel, you know, that you get a feeling. I feel like what he wants. I'm basically like a guy that lives alone, but I get a message from him. I know this might sound hocus pocusy, like
nothing.
But
does
I'm going to
to
say
me.
it. I've told the people around me, but I get a message that he wants me to raise a family in this house.
Right.
That's the message.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that he raised his family in this house, right? I bought the house off his 3 daughters, right? And I get a feeling that he is, I don't want to use the word suspicious. Like, I don't actually think he's a really pleasant man. He's not somebody who's like really nice and kind. He's not that man, but he's also not nasty. He's just a cantankerous old guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he wants something from me. And I feel that like he's not sure of me. That's what I feel. That he's like, he's not talking to me. He knows that I'm scared. So he's not going to scare me.
Yeah.
But I feel this message all the time that he wants me to do something. And like, since then I've like talked outside to like, oh, I'm not going to stay in this house. Like, I'm going to move. And like on the night when I go back to bed, like this is how like weird it is. I actually say it to him like, I won't move. Like, I won't move. You know, like I tell him in my head, I won't. I'll do it. I will. I'll do what you want me to do. Weird. True. Again, and in my entire life, right, I've never, ever, ever felt anything like this before. Ever. Never have I felt any spirit, anything. No. If you asked me before this house, that sort of stuff scared the life out of me. Like, oh, hell no. Like, I ain't listening to that.
Yeah.
But because you told your story, I just wanted to relate that, like, I feel something too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Completely nothing to do with your story, but I'm going to throw it in.
The thing is the veils are thinning, and so more people are tuning in with it more. So that's obviously what you've been doing. You're picking up on the energy of him, and talking to him would be the best thing. I mean, like I said, in treatments and things, sometimes spirit come in. Doing the emotion code, there might be something coming up that's inherited, and suddenly the room actually went cold here when you were talking about it. Funny enough, I could sense it. I don't know if you did.
He hasn't come with us, has he?
Probably. You're talking about him.
I know, yeah.
Bringing it out there. Yeah, and if I'm doing some work and then something comes up that's inherited, generational trauma, the room will suddenly just change the energy. And I will ask if the client's open to it, because not all of them are, obviously. I kind of gauge that. And if the client's open to it, I'll just say, look, can you feel that? And they're like, yeah, what's happened?
Right. So
they can actually sense it. So then what happens is we then will tune in to find out who's there. So we will ask a few questions to see who's in the room. And more often than not, they actually want a bit of a healing. And so we actually give them a healing.
The spirit? Right.
Yeah, because they still carry it forward. And when we tune in to find out what the healing was or whatever the emotions is that's trapped there, we can work out roughly, I can work out roughly possibly what they've died of.
Really?
So perfect example, somebody who's got a lot of grief that wants that releasing. So that's normally linked to sort of lung cancer or heart disease, that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, and it's been more often than not, perfect example. Many years ago, I had my first ever bioresonance machine. I was using it and I'd actually only put my husband, my son, myself and one of my friends on it. And, like when you put on like a list and it'll bring up the last names that you've used. And it brought up a name and it said Furlonger. And I'm thinking, I don't know a Furlonger. When have I put that on? The only Furlonger I know is my Nana. And then I put underneath it and it said Violet. And I'm like, well, hang on, that's a bit weird. Nana's been passed how long? And this is coming through. So then I tuned in with her energy and I found that she had a lot of trapped emotions in her left lung. Now I know she didn't have a left lung. She had TB as a child. So then it makes me think, right, well, did she have that from another lifetime? It's come back into this lifetime, which she obviously developed as a child. And like all through her life, she only had one lung. This
message, just to backtrack, this message where you got the name Violet and stuff, how was that? That message was just just sent to your mind?
No, it was on a machine I've got. So, like on this machine, you basically put in the details of the client, the person.
Right.
And I'd literally only had it about a week. And like I said, I only had myself, my son, my husband, and one of our friends. That was it. I didn't put anyone else on it because I was literally just playing with it.
Okay.
And then this name come through.
Okay.
So there's no explanation for that.
No.
Because I didn't do
if
it.
you're telling me that
She used that to get to my attention.
your grandma's name was Violet Furlong.
Yeah.
Furlong?
Furlonger. before she
Furlonger,
got
Violet
married.
Furlonger. She had a left lung missing.
Yeah.
And you're telling me now that this machine brought those two names up on it, clear as crystal.
Not this machine,
A
my
different
other
one.
one. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
the
set-
other
and
one.
that's factual.
Yeah, that is actual factual.
Well, that's not a coincidence, is it?
Yeah.
Like I've never
How
met.
can you explain it?
You can. If that happened, like that's some trippy stuff.
Yeah.
So what is this machine?
So this is a bioresonance as well, but this one is a lot more advanced than the one I had previously.
It looks like something out of James Bond.
It sounds like something off Star Trek.
Does it?
Once it starts, yeah. So what this does is I have various programs, or if somebody's obviously aware of a condition, then I'll scan for that. But more often than not, people come to me, they've been to doctors, they know there's something wrong, but they just don't know what it is. Blood results have come back, everything's normal, you're on your way kind of thing. Now, the human body will show you years before when there's something going on. Whether it be you feel something in your throat, maybe you're feeling a lot of anger, maybe even getting discomfort. This is your body telling you what's going on. Now, this machine basically works in that. It works with the energy of your body. So any disease and illness that we have actually is in the energy field before it goes into the physical body. And it can take many years to happen. The thyroid condition that I had, I knew I had 5 years previous. And funny enough, when I actually went and had the blood test done again, they said to me, you were actually here 5 years ago with exactly the same problem. But then it was fine. But then by the time I went back, I actually had a physical problem. So anytime like your body's trying to show you something, always listen to it because you can stop it in its tracks. But with this, I do, like I said, a scan using a protocol that I've got, and we just find out what systems might be struggling a little bit at the moment.
Right.
And then from that, it creates a report so that I can see roughly what could be going on and where and why. And then, obviously, you get a copy of that report, and then what I do is send a frequency back to you, to your energy body. So there's sensors in the headset which are communicating with your brain, or like I sometimes like to explain the subconscious, basically, because the subconscious knows everything. We know everything, yeah. So the headset, the sensors in the headset communicate with your brain. Your brain will then tend to program what's going on. The program then creates a frequency to send back, which goes back to the brain, which then instructs the brain to tell wherever the problem is in the body to fix it, basically. So it gives it like a kickstart.
Right.
Some people just come for one treatment and they're absolutely fine.
So this machine, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I've heard this right. This machine doesn't just read the problem.
Nope. It
Sends the message back to sort it out.
Yeah.
Right. What? Whoa. Hang on. Whoa. Like, this sounds like a medical marvel. Like, hang on a minute.
They've been out since the 40s.
Right. Hang on. And this is all through frequencies?
Yes, all three. All
Okay.
frequency. Everything's a frequency.
I'm very interested in this. So, may I ask this to be booted up and have a go?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
No, I said you could.
Yeah, I was going to say this is it's not silly money, is it? You know,
No, it's I charge £60 an hour for it.
Cool. Well, we're happy to pay that, right, Southpaw?
Absolutely.
We're going after you. Come on then, and it's called a what?
A bioresonance.
Bioresonance machine. And it's been out since the 40s.
They've been out since the 40s. They were first created by Dr. Raymond Rife.
Okay.
And he actually had a different version. He had a scalar machine, and he basically cured people of cancer with it. And then the CIA found out and came around and smashed up his office. And then everything went underground.
Right.
So you can find them. They're not expensive.
Right.
You know, you can get them a lot cheaper. I mean, I have some that have literally cost me about £500. This one was a lot more.
Was it?
But, you know, but it's getting it out there for people to understand how it works. If you don't understand energy, frequency and vibration, then they'll just look at it and think it's woo-woo. But the results I've had with this is incredible, including myself, obviously.
So if I whack this on, will you be able to see something, know
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I'll be able to pick something up.
So just to be specific, will it know what to scan for, or will you be scanning for a certain thing? Or?
I can scan for just on the normal program I've got as a male, or you can tell me if you get any pain anywhere, and I can look at that.
Okay. Well, let's see it in action.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, should
Very.
we just do the normal platform then and see what comes
Yeah, I
up?
think we should go down that route.
Okay.
I think we should go down that route. Let's just do a normal thing and let's just see.
What comes up?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does it work? What's the first
So
step?
first of all, I need to put the details in. So it's Dan. What was your surname?
Dan Brown. Like the colour. Like the author. I get that a lot, as you can imagine.
What's your date of birth?
My date of birth is the 25th of May, 1985.
Oofed.
That's enough of that, mate. That's enough of that. Listen, I look good, right?
You look well,
I look
mate. I'll give
good,
you that.
right?
You look well.
25th of May, 19...
85. Yeah. What are you saying, Southpaw? You buying this?
Well,
saying?
you know I'm a bit of a skeptic. I
He
hate,
is a
I hate
skeptic.
to say it on these things. I personally, like we discussed with Marie, I like to see things in the flesh. Until I see something, I struggle to believe it. But this particular machine, being around from the 40s, I'm intrigued. Definitely.
Like, how do you feel about, like, just whilst Kerry's doing this, how do you feel, Southpaw, about, like, lie detector machines? You buying them?
I am with lie detector machines.
Because that's off brain frequencies, right?
It's off, I believe so, yeah, brain frequencies and spikes in different sort of feelings. So I'm a lot more open to the idea of them being correct.
Because they're meant to be pretty accurate, right?
Yeah, I've heard so. And like, apparently CIA agents know how to beat them, but I don't know whether that's actually the fact.
I think you've got to have some pretty serious mind control, I think, to beat a lie detector.
Yeah, I
You've
think
got to be
so.
some supreme, like, you got to
Yeah.
really be on it. Because I imagine it's pretty tricky.
That's all set up now.
Okay. So what do we do now?
So you need to put the headphones on.
Okay, this is
Put that one on the
interesting.
left.
This
Your
one on the
yeah,
left.
Yeah, that one on your
Okay.
left.
Okay, is this going to be any noise in here?
There will be a little bit of... I can turn it on silent if you want, and you won't hear any noise in there, but there'll be a noise here that's, like I said, a bit like Star Trek.
Okay.
So...
But it's not going to be proper loud.
No, you're not going to hear anything in there. That is purely just a sensor. You won't hear it. You might feel things through the body, but you won't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to scan this now.
Mm-hmm.
And you've moved. Hang on a second, it's just gone off. Just take the headphones off a second. This is the only thing, it's very sensitive.
Do I have to stay still?
I'm wondering if it's too much interference. I'm going to try it again.
Maybe I'm just far too messed up. It's just like, nope, I'm not doing that one. Nope.
Right, let's go back in again.
Can't help this guy.
It could be that there's quite a lot of
Yeah, there is a lot going on.
electrics, but we can try, because I mean I have things at work, obviously. Right, so go back on that. What I'll do is I will just...
I'm excited and nervous.
You're nervous?
A little bit.
I'm just going to reboot it.
I'm kind of like, I've got it in my head that like, oh, like at the end, Kerry's going to say, oh, by the way, Dan, like today's your last day. So
Like
just,
that.
yeah, have your favourite takeaway tonight because it'll be your last one.
But that's what it can do. It can tell you and predict.
It can predict the state of the energy body. It's not a diagnosis as in what you would get from a doctor's, but it can show things that are already there that could develop into something else. I mean, obviously, I've got clients that have got cancer, and it does show that, but I will only tell them that, obviously. I don't want to frighten people, and I'm not a doctor, you know.
Well, for the purpose of entertainment, whatever that comes up, I don't mind
Well,
you
that
saying it.
basically, yeah, that's what we say. It's not a diagnostic.
No.
But it's interesting to know because you can link it up to, you know, to certain things that might be going on in your body that you might be aware of, or something that might have happened. I mean, every time we have like an accident, a fall or anything, that weakens the energy field. So then that opens it up. It's almost like leaves a hole in it so that then you're, a condition could begin there, you know, like arthritis or something. Right, so pop them on now. Hopefully it will work. Right.
So is it reading now?
Wait a second. No, not yet. You'll know in a minute. I'm just going back on there. Right.
Remain very still, Daniel.
Yes. Right, so like I said, I'm just going to do you on that one because I've rebooted it. I had to do it all again. So please work. Right, scanning you. So straight away, I'm seeing. Oh, why does it keep going off? Just take them off again. Sorry. I think it is the interference in here.
That sounded like progress there, though.
We got a book.
Well, I saw something around the head there. So if you ever get headaches,
Okay.
if you get stress, that kind of thing. Let me try it again one more time.
Yeah, we'll try one more.
Yeah.
It may be the interference. Or
I think it possibly is because I don't have this much equipment, obviously.
Frequencies within this room.
I just think I'm in too good of shape for it. That's what it is. It's just saying, no, this
and you've got it exactly on, tight on your head and everything. Yeah, you got it in the left. Yep, that's right. Yep. But if it doesn't work again, it'll be because of the interference in here. Right, try one time. Yeah, it's too much interference.
Okay.
Well, that's a bummer. Sorry.
That's a bummer. No, that's all right.
It's all right. So that would have read.
Let me just have a look, see what it was.
I'm a bit worried.
Because we did do one. I think it might show up.
What, that little reading there? It got something,
We did get one thing, yeah. So basically, on this one thing, it's on the right-hand side of your head,
Right.
showing there's no energy flow.
No energy flow.
Yep. So if I show you that,
Oh my God.
see that black bit there?
Right.
That basically shows that there's no energy flow there at all. Possibly in the past you've had some sinus issues, maybe just recently, because that's showing as the frequencies going out around your sinuses. But, so I would say that could be stress, maybe. And if I go on to check on here, so there's nothing coming up pathology-wise.
What's pathology?
So a condition.
Okay.
So that would say if it could be something linked to like neuralgia, plaque in the arteries, that kind of thing, that would all affect it.
Right.
So I'm just seeing if there's any microorganisms, because microorganisms can get trapped there. So really, it's more, it can even tell me if you need any phytotherapy, which is basically herbs, that kind of thing. Because obviously, herbs and fruit and food and crystals have all got a frequency, so we can use different things for that to send a frequency. But I tend to stick with the same one, the first one, because that's the most powerful. Is it going to say anything on that?
So no, like, information.
So there's nothing coming up there. So see these conditions here. So that's 0.843.
What's that for?
So this is basically, if these were in the red, these would tell me that this is where you could be heading in the future. So neuralgia is basically like pain. You know,
I'm seeing a lot of not red.
Yeah, well, that's good.
It
But obviously
sounds
we
good.
haven't done a full scan, because
No.
then it would bring up other things and compiles it all together.
Okay.
So that we could, work out something. I mean, the other, maybe you might be able to, if you did it in the kitchen on your break or something,
Right.
try it that way.
Just going to pause the episode there real quick, guys. Kerry actually did a reading with Daniel off camera when the frequencies weren't playing and messing up with the machine. So here's exactly what she found in her own words.
Hi, Dan. This is just a brief from the report that we did when I came into the pod. Now, looking at it, I can see that there could be some conditions you could be heading towards, but remember, it's just energy. So it's not saying that you've got these conditions. It just is showing where the frequency is going out, which could lead to these conditions in time, obviously when you're older. There was a few things that came up. There was some conditions showing in the respiratory. So this can be anything from sort of your gut all the way up to your sinuses, which obviously we were established the left sinus seemed to have conditions, and possibly you've had tonsillitis in the past and the energy stayed around. Then there were some conditions that showed up in the digestive system. So again, it's not saying that you've got these conditions, it's just saying that your body could be going out frequency and could lead to these conditions. And then the final one was basically your cardiovascular system is showing that you are quite sensitive to a lot of things. So obviously there's a list on there. It may resonate with you, it may not. And other than that, that was what I was picking up in the report. Obviously, you can see yourself where toxins are and allergens are. But obviously the conditions are nothing to be concerned about. This is just showing where you could be going out of frequency. Anyway, I hope that's okay for you, and I will speak to you soon.
Well, it's funny you should mention the sinus thing. So, mad. I've never had no problems with my nasal or sinus or anything like that. But about 4 months ago, I developed a condition that I haven't done anything about. But basically, my nose now just blocks up here all the time. So it's permanently a problem. So I've been walking around, it's in my bag now, with nasal sprays. You know, them Sinex nasal sprays you get in the supermarket? Spray up each nose, clears my airwaves. Yeah. And I'm doing this half a dozen times a day. Definitely like before bed. Obviously big one, just going to sleep with a blocked nose, mouth breathe, etc. But yeah, I'm doing that regularly throughout the day. And this is something that is recent. This isn't something that was there 6 months ago.
So that would have an effect on your head as well then, obviously, because it's all connected, isn't it, with your sinuses. So when it's red like that, that shows, like there, can you see around the sinuses? When it's red like that, that basically shows that the frequency is going out. And then this graph here is telling me that the frequency is going out, but the problem has actually started in your cardiovascular system.
Right.
So it could be anything from, again, stress, plaque in the arteries. It could be, basically stress or plaque in the arteries, anything like that. But this is the cardio system here. And because this is red, and it's higher than that one, so because this is red, it means that it's chronic. So maybe not so much now, but in the past you might have gone through a lot of stress, which is now showing in your energy body. This wouldn't show up on any doctor's reports because it's only in the red, but there might be something that would come from this because that's in the black.
Right, okay. Okay. Well, yes. It's 100% right. A lot of stress in the past and a lot of stress currently.
Right. Oh, well, yeah.
So, it's right, if that is the case. But then I also, I want to play devil's advocate here. If I picked 100 people out at random, right, and said, you're stressed, I put it to you that 90 of them would say, yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
But so the stress one, I'm gonna take that with a pinch of salt. But the nasal one is interesting because there's a whole head there.
And it's only recent because it's in the red.
Yeah. So that is interesting because that is only recent.
Yeah.
And you say, from what you can see there, you think that could be something more, like a cardiovascular type
Well,
issue?
this is what the graph is showing here.
Right.
So 2.6 here, that's your cardiovascular system. So if I go on here, see these lists here? So these numbers all link up with the graph, and that's how I can find out where the root cause of it is. So a lot of our health problems do come from the nervous system or the cardio system, because obviously stress is like the majority of everyone's got. You know, they've gone through at some point in their life.
Pretty much.
So that's that and the nervous system are normally the main cause of any conditions. And I see patterns with people, obviously, with various things, like for example, the thyroid condition, hypothyroidism, exactly, or goiter. That always starts around in the lymphatic system. So that's the pattern that I get. But obviously, the lymphatic system is your immune system, and it's the immune system that's attacking you that causes things like hypothyroidism.
Right.
It's like an autoimmune disease.
Yeah, it is autoimmune, yeah.
So that's the link.
Can I ask, have you had any, obviously apart from yourself, have you had any major success stories with healing? Obviously, as I said, you've almost healed yourself from all issues that you've faced, amazing. But have you had any, I guess it'd be hard to say because a lot of the readings you're doing are prior to the issue that comes. But have you had anyone where they've got an issue, it's a severe one, and then all of a sudden they've came to you and you've made that go away. Could you give an example of that?
I could give a couple of examples. I was asked by a company to take on their employees, and a lot of them were experiencing a bit of PTSD, stress, anxiety, addictions. And so what we did was we did the program obviously around mental health, and all of them are fine.
Right.
They're absolutely fine. I mean, the messages I was getting, I can't believe it. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to drink. I don't want to smoke. And, you know, they're a load better. And I have another client who has been coming to me regularly, has a thyroid problem. And she had to have an operation because it was causing too many health problems. You know, she had a goiter. When we were first doing it, the frequency was going great. And as soon as she had the operation, it went all backwards. But instead of taking months to start to heal again, it immediately started picking back up, and like she's a lot better now. And we're just now building up on it because obviously it's a thyroid, it takes a long time.
That's all through this machine?
All through this machine, yeah.
Right, and it's, again, doing the reading, but then sending something back.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll tell you a funny story. So when I first started learning this, I'm an all or nothing girl, and
Right.
I want to heal quickly.
Right.
Right. And when I first started going on it, I went on it too much.
Right.
And for 3 weeks, I ended up quite poorly.
Off this?
Off
No way.
this. Yeah, I ended up having tests and things done, thinking there was something seriously wrong.
Right.
And after the 3rd week, it just stopped like that. And when I went back to the manufacturers, I said, "Is there any chance it could be this?" He said, "Well, yeah, you've overdone it. You've detoxed too much."
So what is it like I guess like an X-ray machine, I guess? Is it doing a similar thing to that? Like what is it that was making you poorly off it?
But it's
The
the
energy
frequency,
going back.
because I basically was killing parasites. And we've all got parasites in our body, haven't we?
Yeah.
And
Right.
I was passing them quite a lot.
Right.
But obviously you can do too much. You can detox too much if you don't do it properly.
Right.
And yeah, it wasn't very good.
Right.
I started to get a bit worried.
Lesson learned. At least you did it on yourself.
Well, that's
And not a customer.
That's it. I'm a guinea pig for myself.
Yeah.
I'm always like that.
Yeah,
I'd
right.
rather do it on myself than anyone else.
You know, imagine you were trying to heal somebody. Imagine if that
And they're on
happened.
the loo on their 5 minutes. No.
Whoops. Well, you know, you live, you learn, don't you?
Well, it just gives me, obviously, I've learned, yeah, basically. And so, like, if a client wants to carry on, I say, no, you've got to leave it a couple of weeks break, and then we can carry on again.
How many of this is like, how many times of this would you say is too much?
Well,
Like, where's the safe place?
if you've got a condition, something serious like cancer, right, you can be on it every day, right, for 10 days. You are advised to do that, because what you're doing is you're basically kickstarting the body to start healing itself. But then after that, you have to have a 2-3 week break.
Okay.
But for somebody like myself that now isn't really doing much on it other than the thyroid, you every couple of months you could do it. And it's just like a top up, I suppose is the word. I don't encourage people to go on it a lot unless there is a problem, you know. And sometimes, I mean, I've got clients that just want to be nosy and want to see what's going on. And they're quite happy with just coming back every few months. I had one gentleman, he was as fit as a fiddle. And when we did the cardio scan, it was really bad, really bad, to the point where I was like, how on earth can you be that fit and healthy? And it's showing you like this. And I was thinking then, God, is there something wrong with the machine then?
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense, yeah.
And then when we got talking, I actually said to him, look, is there any heart problems in your family line? He went, oh, yeah, my mum died of heart disease. My father had a heart attack.
Wow.
So that was the link for him, because he had that energy in him because of his family. And I don't believe, well, it's actually been scientifically proven now, but epigenetics. So if we have a condition and our parents have already had it, as an example, breast cancer, and you go to the doctor and they say you're already at risk of breast cancer because your mum had it, right? And then I don't believe that it's the disease that you inherit. It's the emotions that have led to the disease. And so if you hold in somebody else's emotions and then it comes out in your energy field, then you get the condition.
Right.
And it was actually scientifically proven. I think it was in 2020.
So it's kind of like, is that like a bit like the concept of like talking yourself ill?
Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah.
You think that's a thing?
Definitely. Again, with my mum, she actually died of myeloma and she had no symptoms at all. We didn't even know. But I started to get paranoid and started to think, oh my God, I've got it. I've got it. I started to feel really unwell. And then I realised I was telling my body to have it.
Right.
I do. The mind is a powerful thing. This is why we've got subliminals.
I totally buy into that. Like, the more, if you really focus, I wish it would work with the good stuff, like, because I don't have to think about that lottery ticket. But, you know, I just, honestly, I put it on every week, 15 years. Maybe I'm not thinking hard enough, but I do.
It's a con.
Yeah, it is a con. But listen, you've got to live the dream, right?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I've already picked my yacht. You know, but I do think of that. Like, sometimes, you know, like we all do. Everybody in this room right now, at some point, will have, or probably do now, have something in their head that they think, oh, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yes.
Pretty much everybody does.
Yeah.
And I find, as a rule, I'm an obsessive person like you, Southpaw. Like, you'll obsess on something. And I do try to stop myself, because I can really go on a spiral and really start, like, imagining the thing happening and, like, start to feel the emotions of it actually happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like Daniel, it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And you are feeling the emotions of it happened.
Yeah.
And you're having a meltdown, but it's just in your head. So, like,
It's that easy to do
yeah.
on a negative.
And like, you do think, like, what happens if you keep obsessing? Like, are you actually literally, like, manifesting this thing towards you, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, it is difficult, isn't it, when you've got something on your mind, but I guess you've got to try and practice, just, don't know, let it go. It's just in your imagination.
Powerful.
Yeah,
The mind
man.
is powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Joe Dispenza. He cured himself just by visualising walking outside and, you know, and he was paralysed.
Yeah. Yeah. Those stuff, so you think, oh, well, not think, I guess you would say you definitely believe people have manifested themselves healthy. Because we've all heard them. Like, these people who were, like, chronically ill, like had conditions, like, never mind a cold or stress, whatever. All that's horrible too. But, like, you've heard these stories, like, online or on the TV or on a documentary where, like, they literally, like you say, couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Right? They could not walk. They had an accident. Their nerves were battered. Doctors tried everything, but then using the power of whatever, that there wasn't medical, their mind, they ended up, so far rehabilitating themselves, if that's the word.
Yeah.
So you're totally buying into that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You don't think it was a coincidence?
Nope.
No.
No, I truly believe it. I mean, do you want me to give you an example of something
Please.
that I did? When I was pregnant with my son, so I had my daughter by C-section, so because she was just awkward.
Right.
But it was all planned and everything.
Right.
And my son, when I was pregnant with him, I actually started to get a little bit paranoid, starting reading up on what things can happen, what can go wrong if you've had...
Googling stuff.
Yeah.
Worst thing you can do, isn't it?
Worst you can do, yeah. And I actually found this one thing, and I was like, I remember saying to my husband, I went, no, my bloody luck, it'll happen to me.
Oh, no.
And it did.
It did.
And it's 1 in 10,000 people it happens to, uterine rupture, which basically is life or death.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds rough.
Yeah, you basically bleed to death.
Right.
So, but like I remember saying to my husband, like, you know, no, my luck, it'll happen to me, kind of thing. And it did.
And it was what, like, literally so rare.
It's 1 in 10,000.
1 in 10,000.
The surgeon actually came around to see me and he said, he actually said to me, you know, I've never seen this and I've been here 45 years.
Right.
You know, and it is very, I mean, it's more common now, I've noticed. I have heard of it, but when I had it, which was like 11 years ago, it wasn't.
No.
And it was quite scary.
I bet it was. Yeah, I bet it was. So you truly believe that you...
I think I did, yeah.
You thought that into reality.
And it was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
So how did... like I say, once upon a time, this wasn't part of your life, this sort of stuff. How have, like, the people around you taken it? Are they all for it?
Thankfully, my husband is very supportive. But a few people think I'm nuts.
Do they?
I don't think people believed that I could make a career out of it. I think they thought it was just a fad.
Right.
Because before doing this, I used to have jobs, like I used to work for employment agencies. So
Right.
I'd move from job to job, which I loved. And I had a couple of like secure jobs that came from it, but
Yeah.
I always got bored. I hated being told what to do.
Yeah.
And so by doing this, I would never go back now to working for somebody else. I never could. And I think my friends thought I was going to do that, even right in the beginning, because obviously it was stressful setting up a business and everything else. But now they realise that, do you know what, I was serious and I won't give up, you know, no matter what. Even during lockdown, obviously I couldn't work. So what did I do? I went and did more training, which is where the Akashic came in.
Right.
And the
But
emotion
you
core.
don't have to be face-to-face, do you, with people to
No.
do this? You can do it remotely.
I can do it remotely.
But hang on, how
yeah.
would this work?
So in that port that obviously that these are plugged into, I have a separate like a little device that I can have a hair strand in, or a nail in, or even a photo of the person, because it's their energy imprint. Via quantum entanglement, you could be on the moon and I could still send a frequency to you as long as I've got your DNA. This is where witchcraft comes in. Obviously, you can use somebody's DNA to send a spell to them.
Right.
So it can be used for the nefarious reasons as well.
Yeah. I suppose you could wish bad on them as well, I guess.
Well, you can, but it'll come back on you, so I wouldn't.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the earphones in your ear, I get it, going through your head,
Yep.
reading it. I don't get how a photograph, let's say you had a photograph of me and you went home.
Yeah.
How, because that isn't the physical me.
Because it's your energy.
It's on the photograph.
Yeah, but it's your energy imprint. It's your image,
Right.
you know, and we are putting that intention, that's your image.
Huh.
It's fascinating. And you can do it with anything. I mean, it came to me one day in a meditation to actually imprint a frequency into like a little card that I've got.
Okay.
And get the client to carry the card around with them. And so we did it practicing, because I like to experiment. And anyway, when we went back on the machine, it actually cleared things away in that week that they'd been away, more than what we would have done if we'd been on the machine.
Through the card.
Through the card, yeah, by imprinting the frequencies into it. But you can imprint frequencies into anything. You know, you can put frequencies into jewellery, you can put it into water. If you do put it in water, it'll only last 3 days. But if you put a tiny little bit of vodka in it, it actually holds the frequency longer, and you can have it for 2 weeks.
Hey, look, Kerry, there's a second business idea. Kerry's water. I can see it now.
I'd have a swig.
I know, yeah. Imagine.
How important do you think, because you're the first person I've ever met who does this, and you were saying earlier the world's beginning to open up to maybe this side of things. Where do you sort of see this sort of line of work going, and sort of how important do you think this is going to be for future generations?
So I think this is going to be huge. In America, it is big. You won't hear of that, but I have contacts in America for some more equipment that I want, and it's massive out there. And by, if I remember rightly, I think it's 27, it's going to be worth 9 trillion, the health and wellness industry. So if anybody's actually looking at doing, you know, health and wellness in that sort of job role, then now is the time to do it, because it's going to be worth a fortune. And I think it's actually going to take over a lot of the actual medical side. I believe that these will be in doctor's surgeries in the future. They are in America, so why not here?
These are doctor surgeries.
They're in doctor's surgeries.
So they're actually getting used in the health service.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
Over in America.
In this case, this verges this from, I guess, an holistic therapy to something else now.
Yeah. But holistic therapies work alongside. Like I said, there is a place for medicine in the world, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But if we can find something before it becomes a problem and then deal with it without actually having to deal with a serious condition, then shouldn't it be like that? But obviously there's no money in it for them.
No, I think, right place, right time, really. I think not only the credentials are like the proof that this is working. Again, look, you've just done me. You said the sinus thing. Okay, there could be a world where that was luck. Of course, you know. Okay, might have been luck. You never know. But if they've actually got data now, which I assume this has been around for a while, so I assume there is data.
Oh, there's plenty.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be sat here with this thing now. So
Yeah.
there must be at least enough for people to go, yeah, this is the real deal. And with what's going on in the world, we are at a time of more than ever of distrust of medicines and vaccines and whatever else. There's a lot of distrust. A lot of, as you said, the sort of veil is being removed about, we've all heard the big pharma and all this and the money pits and who's got shares in what and you've got to take this. And then you think, well, hang on, you've got a piece of this pie here. This doesn't make sense. You're setting the rules. And there's a lot of distrust going on in one way or another, whether you're a full conspiracy theorist, air quotes.
Love that word.
or you've just got half a brain cell. At the very least, you are a little bit more less trusting than you used to be. I would say that's probably most people. And I think this is a right place, right time type of thing. Yes. I'm not saying that it didn't work before, but there will be more people now opening the mind with the contents that we're all getting. We've got this on our phone. Again, all negatives come with that, yes, of course, but we are actually at the same time getting a lot more educated at the same time. We're getting to find out a lot of stuff that we didn't know. So I dare say we're probably as wise, more wise than anyone that has ever lived this race of people because we have so much information, good or bad. So I think this is very much a right place, right time type of thing. I'm buying it, not literally. I believe it. I couldn't probably afford this, but I have a feeling. I trust my instinct. And I believe that there's something in this. Yeah, I do. What you saying, Southpaw? Are you buying this or what?
Yeah, no, I agree fully. I think it's, as you say, as the world opens up to this side of healing, I do think it's, if the NHS could save thousands of hundreds of thousands or millions every year, getting this done first and seeing potential issues in the future, why would we not?
Well, I'll tell you, I can give you the answer to that, Southpaw. They're called shareholders.
Yeah.
That's the problem. There will be a lot of pushback against stuff like this because it's a business at the end of the day. Every tablet you took, there is, everything that you get given, someone somewhere is getting very, very rich off that and making money. And this would spoil a lot of parties for a lot of people. It would make new parties for new people. I guess the advice would be, I tell you what, all you big pharma medicine people, get on this. Charge for this instead, But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you can be negative about it or just accept that's the way the world is. But I'm all for this. Like, I'm all for this. Even I'm sure there'll be other things like this. This is just one system, one machine. But I'm sure there's other things going on, other things that have been invented, other things that will be invented. Yeah. But I definitely think people should, if people have dismissed this, I think, I'm not telling you to believe what you don't want to believe, but at the very least, those that have dismissed it, I would bet the majority of them haven't looked into it properly. I would guess. That's normally the way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
As I say, when I first heard this today, I hadn't seen this, I hadn't spoken to you, but I was thinking, how on earth through energy can somebody... But I get it now.
Yeah.
I do get it. Yeah. Have you got anything I've missed to yourself, or you got any questions? I'm a bit...
No, I think it's just a case of if anyone... How can people reach out to you directly to sort of find out your services and have you got a website?
Yep, so my website is www.soultriage.co.uk and I'm on Facebook as Soul Triage Energy Medicine. I'm on Instagram as Soul Triage Energy Medicine and all my details are on there for emails and phone numbers.
Right, yeah.
And we'll leave them linked below on this episode, yeah. So anyone.
Yeah, Kerry, blow my mind a little bit. Blow my mind.
Blows my mind every time I use it, every time something comes up for me.
Yeah. Look, outside of this podcast, Southpaw and I'd love to have a trip to see you and have another go.
Yeah,
let's just say it's definitely piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Listen, anybody else out there that's watching this, get on this. There's something in this. I get a feeling. But yeah, that's it. How long have you been rolling, Southpaw?
About 1:15.
Is there anything before we go, Kerry, that we've missed that you want to put in here?
No, I think you've
yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well,
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, we have, haven't we, Southpaw?
Yeah, it's been good fun. Very interesting, very intriguing, that one.
You'll be going off and doing some research now, won't you?
Yeah.
100%.
No, I think we're going to come see you for sure.
Well, these are basically a step down from the med beds, which I'm sure you've heard about. The med beds that we're all getting spoke about during lockdown.
Med beds?
Yeah, well, this is basically a step down from it. So the med beds you'd be in this sort of pod, and the machine would scan you, find out where the imbalances is, and then automatically send the frequencies back. The fact that I'm doing it is manual, because obviously I've got to do the research myself, find out in the report what's going on, whether it be your allergies or anything, whereas the machine or the med beds, they do it for you. But they're what's in America. And like I said, I know they are because I've got contacts. They keep sending me pictures and stuff. So
Of these med beds?
Of these med beds, yeah.
How do we get hold of one of these med beds?
You're talking about 80 grand.
Okay. Okay.
We'll leave that one for...
Yeah, we'll have to do a pool on it, won't we? We'll have to all chip in, you know? Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe, yeah. We'll save up for a couple of years, see if we get one. But yeah, absolutely fascinating. Kerry, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for talking to people like us. This has been amazing. And we will definitely be coming to see you in the near future.
Excellent.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll see you next time.